Hey, everybody. Welcome to another edition of Gruber Wired Hour.
That's right. Wired
Half hour. Yeah. Not weird. Poor Jesse. Yeah, he's still traumatized over Tuesday, so he forgot to change the intro. Yeah. But I'm Mark Beach.
I'm John Dotson, and welcome once again.
Yeah,
Traumatized over Tuesday. Huh? Is that how you're putting it? Well, it's been a great week. We've had lots of good things happening. The temperatures have come down here in Phoenix, which is nice and gorgeous. It's a beautiful time of year right now.
Yeah, it feels like January weather almost.
Almost.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I actually been wearing my hoodies. That's happy Mark right there. Yep.
Happy Mark. There you go.
Hoodie time is good.
And if you watch the last podcast, him in a hoodie makes him look like the Unabomber. So if you see that, run.
We had fun.
Yeah.
We had fun. I hope you all enjoyed it as much as we enjoyed doing it.
It was different, weird for sure. Right?
Yeah. We have to flex our creative muscles every once in a while.
Yeah. So, how's business been for you recently? I know I've been really, kicking it up, and things have been going really smooth, really good around here.
We're really doing some good things, I think. Fiber is king right now.
Yeah.
I mean, it's picking up a lot. Worked on a special project and really excited about producing some professional lighting and video board cabling for some
cool.
major production type stuff, concerts, things like that. So just working out the kinks, but I think we nailed it.
I got to tell you, talk about that concerts and, production and whatnot. And I'll tell you, Phoenix is really becoming a huge hub for a lot of this creativity out there in the marketplace. I mean, we're seeing a lot of production companies come into the Valley here and just a lot of activity going on. So that's really cool to see.
Yeah, I think we can really take this ball and run with it. It's one of the areas where we already excel, which is the Cat 6, Cat 6A cabling, but with some special connectivity added to it to ruggedize things and make them usable in like a roadie environment type of setting, right?
Something that can be reused over and over again.
Right.
One of those type of distribution cables that is used specifically for that type of purpose.
Right. It's a Quabbin cable. It's their high end cable. Not cheap, okay, but it's oil resistant. It's chemical resistant. It's just super rugged, super flexible too. It's a really nice cable. It's kind of, when you look at cables like these, like with the microphones, right? Yeah. And they're smooth and they're round because the normal Cat 6 we work with,
a little more rigid.
Yeah. A little more stiff because they're meant to be plugged in and left.
Yeah, they're left there, unlike these where we're constantly being moved and played with. And
so you got to have you got to have the version that's going to work with in environments like that.
Sure.
So this is like a really top tier connection type of setup.
Yeah, and we've done some work before, especially I know we've talked about this before with the NFL and broadcasting units needing this type of cabling so they can go out and go to the stadium, unreel their reel on the line, hook themselves up, and being able to get the broadcast out.
Yeah.
So we see a lot of that, even military spec cable being used in that, which is a good cabling we can work with here.
Right. Yeah. The opportunity is great. MKM Techno Fiber says hello on TikTok. Hello, MKM Fiber Techno.
Yes, hello. How are you? Hopefully you're doing well today. Thank you for chiming in.
Yeah.
So, but we do all sorts of cabling. So don't forget, we can take care of all those copper cable needs, fiber optic cabling. We're seeing lots of neat types of runs. And
same company, we're working on a couple of 24-foot or 24 fiber, 1,000-foot, 500-foot snakes, and putting the Tech Flex on the ends so you can pull out as many as you need, connect them, and then wrap them back up after, coil them up, and everything's protected and looks pretty.
Yeah, I just recently got done working on a satellite cable bundle. Using some Cat 6 cabling and different types of connections there. And so it turned out to be a really, quite honestly, it looked really beautiful after our production team got done with it. Again, using TechFlex and so forth. Just amazing job that our team does over there.
They are precise and it's clean. It's just a clean setup when it all said and done.
Yeah.
Yep.
So, but yeah, there's a lot going on. If you'd like to take a look, get on the internet, go check out Gruber. Just type in Gruber Communications and you'll find us there. So Harry's on there. Welcome back, Bob and Harry. Yeah. Thanks, Harry.
We're not Bob and Harry this week.
Not this week.
No.
But yeah.
So good. So yeah, but just as a reminder, if you're watching us right now, right this minute, we are live. Okay. Now, if you hit the replay button, then you already know we're not live then.
Right.
But we're live right now. And if you have any questions, feedback, shoot it on the podcast here, and we'll try and respond in real time.
Yeah, we'll take a look and see what we can do for you.
Oh, and guess what?
What?
This is an hour earlier now.
In some locations, because
in locations east of us.
East of us, yeah.
Yeah. So what time is it? So it's 5 o'clock on the East Coast. 4 o'clock.
It'd be 4 there.
No, it would have been. We started at 6 before
it'd be
on the East Coast.
That's right.
So now it's 5. So we're on an hour earlier.
And for Pacific too.
Right.
They're an hour behind us, correct?
Right. So it's 2 o'clock there.
2, 3, and 5. Hey, we're hitting the most important hours there, right?
There we go. Right.
See, can't go wrong here.
Well, it's 4 in the Midwest.
So we get it all covered. Doesn't matter. It's all covered.
Hey, but it's good. I mean, so times have changed. So adjust, if you need to, redo your alarm for when our show's on so you can be here.
Yeah. Hey,
that means you, Highlander.
Yeah, right. Hey, really an important shout out to our Gruber Motor podcasting team.
Woo.
Hey, you guys did a great job. They're now over 1 million subscribers.
1 million.
Yeah, amazing feat.
We'll be there in 5 years.
We'll do it in less time, right?
I don't know.
Yeah. So please share, subscribe.
Yes.
We need to play some catch up here.
Yeah, maybe we can get Joe Rogan on.
There we go.
That would be good, right?
Yeah, let me just give him a call.
We'll get him out here. We get a few out of that.
Yeah, I think so. Right. Yeah.
There we go.
Joe, if you're watching, please step up.
Come on, yeah.
No, but today's show, we want to get into talking about kind of just the internet. It's something that everybody uses every single day. Oh, wow. 12 a.m. in Egypt right now. MKM Fiber Techno. Thank you for letting us know. Wow.
9 hours difference.
Yeah. And he's still awake. Impressive. Stayed up all night just for us, right?
There you go. Kind of like me watching those election returns.
Right. But yeah, the internet, this is become such a tool that we are all infused with. It's practically infused into our lifestyles, right?
Yeah.
I mean, now it's everywhere. Everywhere we turn, no matter where you look, whether you're using your phone, a smartwatch.
It's why we're in business.
Yeah,
I mean, let's face it. Without the internet, what would we make cables for?
I know. So just a quick question to some of our crew here. Cass, I'm sure you use the internet often. What is the number one thing that you like to search through with the internet? You doing some shopping? What are you doing?
Does looking for bike parts count?
Yes.
Looking for bike parts? Okay.
Yeah.
So shopping, huh?
Sure, why not?
Yeah, you might want to shop
But what do you actually spend the most time doing?
Yeah.
Probably streaming TV shows. I watch a lot of TV.
That's a good point that she brings up there, because I think that's probably the majority of what people are doing nowadays is streaming, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, business and streaming and shopping.
Yep. Even though they call it cord cutting when they don't watch cable anymore, not so much.
No, not anymore.
It still takes cables to get it there.
How about you, Aaron? What are you researching the most? What are you taking a look at there?
Ooh, probably a lot of YouTube videos on working on diesels and DIY projects.
Okay, so you do a lot of diesel work yourself? Are you like more of a mechanic in the off hours here? Or?
I try to do a lot of stuff myself because it gets pretty expensive going to a diesel shop.
Sure, but see, there's an application where he was able to find the information needed to be able to do those repairs on his own.
I've done that, yeah. I mean, look, we used to, when I was a kid, and by that I mean when I first started driving, 16, 17, 18 years old, I'd have a Chilton's manual.
Yes,
because that's all you could do. And if anybody has read one of those before, you know the pain, right?
Yeah.
But you find it, and it told you how to do everything. It's just interpreting some of the stuff, being able to read the diagrams and understand. You need a a flange or some kind of weird part, right? And or some kind of weird tool which may or may not be described there, and then you're going to
and those were written by engineers, right?
Checker auto
transfer over to layman's terms so that I could open up and read a little bit different story. And that's what's nice about the internet. It brings us those tools that we could use to do so.
Well, yeah, the YouTube videos are amazing.
Yeah, there's so much out there. Jesse, what about yourself? What are you checking out on the internet?
Not election returns.
No, I just do work.
Just work? Yep. So you're using it for primarily work, not
boring. Come on.
But don't you do a lot of gaming?
I do not do any gaming.
Oh, I thought you were into gaming. Wow, okay, something I didn't know about him.
That's me. I do all the gaming around here.
Cass does lots of gaming.
Yeah, I do. I play a lot of Call of Duty.
Call of Duty. There you go. But if you want to pull up picture number 1 for us there, we'll start about talking about a little bit about the origin of the internet, right? Because this kind of fascinated me a little bit, and trying to say, okay, where did this really come from? Where did this start? I mean, it had to start somewhere, right? So here we go with just a little flow chart. And you can kind of see there, the world's first message was sent over ARPANET, correct? ARPANET.
It's like DARPA, only it's ARPA.
Back in 1969 there. This ARPANET was actually developed by the Department of Defense, correct?
Yes, correct.
Yeah.
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 And
it just kind of went from there, right?
Yeah, it did. Well, I mean, it's practical use, right?
Yeah.
Real-time communication, that sort of thing, wire to wire. And I know we're going to get into this, but how did it know where to go? Except that it's a straight through connection, right?
Correct.
Just mainframes to mainframes, and then, talking. But that's kind of, when you think about it, it's like, I go back to, when George Washington was elected president, right? Our first president, right? And there are letters of his to other people asking how he should behave in public, because there was no one before him.
Correct. Yeah.
There was no,
he was the
nothing.
first example of what was taking place.
Right. And we talk about first things here, or let's say the light bulb. We talked about that before. When the light bulb was invented, houses weren't wired for electricity.
No.
There was no need. So when that happened, it created this whole industry around getting electricity to the homes just for light.
Mm-hmm.
And then all the appliances and everything that came after that. But there was the first, right? And the first block that was wired, and the first type of electricity, I think it was DC first, and then it went to AC.
AC, correct.
Right. Because of the distances that could be covered, right? Because DC has a distance limit. AC has a longer distance limit, and so it can go from substations and transformers and all that in longer runs. So you think about first, and then we talk about first here, and there's no internet protocol, there's no communication protocol. All that has to be invented.
Yeah.
Right. Just to support that one thing.
But as you just, explained, we kind of had an idea of how this works because of the leadway, the map that was invented before. You mean the same map works for electricity as works for the internet. As far as needing the infrastructure, needing the lines, needing to put this in order to create this.
Right.
So, from here, we finally get this internet kind of up and running, right? And then they realize, well, it's kind of a one-way street. And we got to be able to take that and model it so that we can outreach to other locations.
Right.
One of the big things in transits was during this time, they decentralized it, correct? And started allowing it to be able to be used by other people in other forms. As you can see there, the first email was sent to an army base at the request of the UK's Queen. What was that, 1976?
Yeah.
There you go. So we started growing from here, and it's kind of spread out and started to kind of just move around the world a little bit. 1978, we see the first spam message was sent for a commercial. I mean, you think back, and I'm going, I was born in 74, so that's not too long after I was born. It's reached to this particular point.
Right.
And then it just kind of went from there. As we go, you see an 84.com was introduced. And a lot of these things where you start to see .coms is because they were able to understand how to take the packets and data packets and repackage them in smaller bits.
Well, I remember it was one of the Star Wars, so it couldn't have been the first one because that was 77, but maybe it was The Empire Strikes Back.
Okay.
Which is what just happened on Tuesday. That was 2020, right?
Yeah,
this was was a New Hope.
Return of the Jedi.
Return of the Jedi. Okay, right.
If you put it in those terms.
Okay. But 1984, I remember seeing. I think it was at Seneca Pre is where I saw the whatever it was, and they had these signs up before billboards, huge billboards up, advertising that Star Wars, and then it said www. It's the first time I'd ever seen it, right?
Yeah.
I mean, I vividly remember seeing that and going, what the heck's that, right?
So that
no
was
one
the
had
first
any.
introduction
No
for
one
you.
had anything. Yeah, no one had anything.
It was new. I mean, it was so new, and the education level hadn't been spread out on this yet either. I mean, because it was still coming into play.
Right. Yep.
Yeah. So you kind of see your long timeline, how things kind of got introduced along and comes along. I think we all know about Amazon and eBay. They just happened to come along in 1995 and really showed us how to use this in a sense of commerce.
Right.
Right. In 94, first internet cafe was opened in the UK. 89 was when www. was invented, right? I can't see because
that's what it says. Yeah.
Yeah, so that came along in 89, World Wide Web. And so at that point in time, we got to the place where we were actually spreading this information, able to grow the infrastructure to a worldwide scenario using it.
Right.
And then to get in a little more of that, there we go, 98, Google was introduced. Gosh,
so you skipped over Internet Explorer and Netscape.
Yeah, I remember that with the old dial-up tones. Remember that?
Yeah. Yeah, there was... what was it called? The one that oh my gosh, AOL online.
Correct. Yeah.
Yep. And there was another one called that was a Sprint product. Man, I can't think of it now. But yeah, I mean, I remember those dial-ups, and I remember it was all text-based.
Yeah.
Yeah, you could download stuff.
It took a while.
At your own risk.
At your own risk.
Yeah, because there's no figuring. You got to figure it out.
It was still groundbreaking then, though.
Yeah.
I mean, so it didn't bother us because that was the norm. I mean, that was the normal.
No, my first computer had a 40 meg hard drive. 40 meg hard drive. Megs. Right? And then it had the big floppy disks that went in.
Yeah.
And I think it had like 10 megs of RAM. And man, we were cooking, right?
Hey, Highlander's checking in. Highlander, how are you?
Yo.
Hope you're doing well. Regarding communications, I would like to see a show on how you can use Ethernet on PLCs right now. It's a big deal putting them on cars. We've been using them PLCs for a long time. So what do you mean by PLC? I'm not familiar with that term.
Programmable logic controllers.
Gotcha.
Yep.
There we go. Small factory computers that run everything. That's the Highlander wheelhouse. Nice. Yeah, we'll have to look into that. I mean, it's always great to get some subject matter for future shows.
Right.
So yeah, most definitely. We'll take note of that and see if we can work that in. We're going to work it in here next week or so.
Right.
Check it out and get some information for you. That'd be cool. Always looking to do something new. So as we go along this timeline, back to this really quick. It just kind of comes along 2001. The DSL service is introduced, right?
Yep.
And then we just move up to Facebook coming aboard.
Yeah, and DSL, so all that was still phone lines, but it was using 4-pair, right? Mm-hmm. Instead of the 2-pair phone wire. And it was double the speed.
I know. Crazy. As of 2013, they were up to 1.5 billion internet users around the world. That's 2013. It's been another a while, 11 years since then. So
right.
I'm sure there's a lot more now because it's just we're getting to those areas, especially with Elon Musk's Skynet, Starnet, is up there, Starlink. That's it. So
yep.
We're getting there. One of the ways that this works and comes around is ISPs, right? And they have a tiered system for these. If you go to number 2, picture number 2, but you're going to find that your ISPs, and this is where it kind of breaks down And what takes place with the internet, since it's decentralized, there's not one place where the internet starts or the internet ends, right? So everybody kind of just teams up on this and introduces themselves. So you get ISPs that come to the table, and you have these different tiers. Tier 1 is going to be a global tier, as you can see there. That's where everything is held and the information is held on a global scale. Number 2 is more of a national and regional kind of a scenario with the tiers for ISPs. And then you break it down from there, and then you get to your local ISP providers.
Right. Well, and so on the tier 1 is, I mean, some tier 2s probably will have this, but domain name servers.
Correct. Yeah.
Yeah. So DNS is what translates the words into an IP address that tells the request where to go. So that's how you can have coke.com, because you don't need to know the 139.45.36.188, right? Yeah.
But this is all controlled by each individualized system. I mean system by government controls around the world.
Right.
So the regulations that our FCC has and our government has might be different from, say, Canada versus Asia, in those regions and those areas. And so when these companies come in and the traffic is coming along, an ISP is nothing more than another leg of the internet up on their own system.
Right.
And so what they do is they build these internet backbones. So if you can pull up the next picture, I have explained a little bit about what these backbones of the internet are. And here we go. Internet backbone consists of a group of major ISP networks interconnected through IXPs and private peering connections or direct connections. These are your larger service providers.
Right.
The Verizons, AT&Ts, you name it. These are the guys out there. What they do is they are putting the infrastructure, all the cabling, all the data centers. They're the ones in control of all the infrastructure for the backbone.
Right. And so if anybody knows how to drop to DOS code or code on your computer, if you do a trace route, TRACERT, and then an IP address or in HP.com or whatever, then you can see, it goes out of your provider, then you can see it hop along the internet. And obviously the fewer number of jumps it has to make to your destination, the faster the speed, right? Because each hop is latency. But that's, part of this. You go from your current tier all the way up and then back down to where that machine is.
Sure. And nowadays, as it says right here, one of the things is you see a lot of fiber optic cabling used at the backbone at this point, because you just need that speed. You need that information. And fiber optic cabling is the way that they've done this. And they run this across the countries underneath the oceans where you have oceanic cables that, separate and go between two countries, two land masses, I should say. Yeah,
usually that's what they call them.
Well, they're countries, they're continents. And so you see a lot of, and this is where we were just talking about in a meeting earlier, that fiber is just going crazy around the world.
Yeah.
I mean, the uptick in the sales of fiber and the uses and needs for it is just through the roof.
Right. I mean, it's all about speed. Yeah. So that's where we have to be with it.
But talking about the internet backbone, if you go to picture number 4, this is actually a picture of what we're seeing here as far as the primary backbone for the United States. So what you can envision here is that we're talking at tier 1, right?
Yeah.
And so you have the tier 1, which is the kind of the global and regional area here. And you'll see this backbone travel around. So then you had tier 2 who would break off of this, and then tier 3 would attach itself to that.
Right.
In order to get the provided, ISPs to you so you can use your internet service. And then from there, we'll take a look at the global scale. If we go to number 5. And then you can see here, it kind of outlines that map there. But you can see here where those cables were we were talking about that go through, to the continents.
Right.
I call them countries, but they are countries. But go along to the continents there. So you can see where we're connected around the world. It gets to a certain point, but then you can also see that there's certain continents where you see the restriction areas where we talked about that decentralization,
right,
where it kind of stops. You don't see a lot of activity in Africa.
No,
right?
but why don't we see it in India? That doesn't make any sense.
I don't know why it's not showing in India, but it should be there. So it could be that there's not a lot of information on that out there right now where those lines are running.
Right.
Probably because of governmental control or access.
I don't know.
Don't know. But you can kind
So
of see here
Highlander
that
said his first computer didn't have a hard drive. It had a drive in the B drive.
it was a hard drive.
Yep. Yep. A and B floppy served as the hard drive. Yep. 1984. And using the ISP is how you ping your own phone
Or somebody else's. Yeah. I haven't done that before, though. Have you
What?
pinged your own phone? No, I haven't either. But it is kind of a neat process to see where this came from all those years ago to where
Right.
we're at now, and then having an understanding go, where is this going?
Yeah.
I mean, because it's just exploding. And like I said, the internet has become an integral part of our everyday life.
Right.
I'm kind of curious what would happen if it kind of all just went down tomorrow. How would we operate?
Why
Could
are
we
you
function?
always like, why do you do
You know?
that? Why do you do that?
So if it was down
Right.
tomorrow, I
If
mean, could we function? Could we get along? Could we
not
get along
as
our
well.
daily lives?
Not
you
as
know?
well. No, I mean, supply chain is all tied to this.
Everything
Right?
is tied to it
Yeah,
now, right?
yep.
So that's why it's important for people like us to be in this industry, to be able to supply those cabling needs, to make sure that they're there so you don't have those causes of interruptions.
Yep. And we're excited about doing the business of this. It's there's always a different project. There's always something new.
There
you
is
know?
lots of new stuff
I've spent
taking
a lot.
place.
Yeah, and I've spent a lot of time talking to customers who are on that trend or direction. They want to go places with what they're doing. So it's been fun. It's been a lot of fun for me.
Yeah, it is fun because every day we come to work is something different.
Yeah.
That's the beauty of what we do. We run into so many different scenarios and being able to work those puzzles out,
Yep.
to come up with the fit for the customer's needs.
Sure.
So just seeing what's taking place in the industry, though, I think we're just going to see this continue to grow. I mean, it is amazing the growth, not only here in the Valley,
Yeah.
but what I'm hearing from our customer base out in the United States itself.
Yeah.
And even across borders.
Yeah.
I mean, down in Mexico, they're doing a lot of work on their facilities. We're seeing a lot of activity taking place.
Yeah. And I think that it's really the panacea for, the third world to be brought into the modern era is by having, communications opened up, being able to have the channels needed to, see what's out there innovation wise, communicate with colleagues around the world, and bring innovation and ideas to those, third world countries and get them.
It's amazing. I look back and then you look at, and those that know the history of the United States, and I go, wow, communication. I mean, that's what we're talking about. Okay,
Right.
transfer of data, communication, and so forth. But we went from a Pony Express system, right, of riding across the country to get information from one side to the other, to a point in time right now that I can pick up my phone, and if I wanted to do this, I could do it around the world within seconds.
Right.
It's just unfathomable where we were
Yeah,
and
it's
how
pretty
fast
cool.
we've come. It's pretty good stuff. It's
Yeah.
it's wild.
People didn't interact. You had to be a certain type to be able to interact with people overseas.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Or not in the U.S. But now
Now it's done daily.
Get on. There's live chats. There's all sorts of things going on. You can interact with people all over the world, and that's one of the things when Facebook still had Mafia Wars, and I have my little clan, and we have people from all over the world. I have people in England and India, all around.
Yeah.
And we would interact, and we'd go on MIRC and have audio chats, but we'd be doing stuff in the game, and it was just amazing. And I know Cass is probably going, duh, well, guess what?
Right?
Guess what I do, right?
Yeah,
Hold
right.
my beer, right? But yeah, back then that was pretty
the
cool.
thing. I mean, it was cool to have some fun like that.
Now they
so-
have Discord, right?
Yeah,
Is that-
Discord's
that's-
out there.
Yep.
Well, time flies. We're talking about time and all this information, and this podcast that we know is going around the world right now. So,
Highlander
said-
wants Gruber to go public so he can buy the stock.
There you go. Love it. Would love that. So, man, we're almost, that's it. We got like 30 seconds left. Just like that, the time goes. But gosh, I guess I got to say is exciting things are happening with the internet. And the next move in this is going to be, how does AI really affect the internet, and how does it help us jump forward?
Gonna take over the world.
No. No, but it's gonna open a lot of doors.
Yeah.
You know, like you said, especially for those third world countries where we need to help them with the educational process of this.
Right.
I think that we're just gonna see this continue to expand.
Right. I agree.
So-
And I think that, everybody's kind of pushing the boat in the same direction.
Yeah.
So we'll see.
Hey, like, share, subscribe. We appreciate you watching today.
Thank you. And for now, I'm Mark Beach.
I'm John Dotson, and thank you once again.
Have a great day.